Record. Is this recording? I think it's recording.
Awesome.
All right, we are live with the first ever calf what are we again? Calf Kick MMA podcast.
Now say that correctly this time.
No. Calf Kick MMA pod. Look, this is your name. And now my Zoom is freaking out. Anyway, we are live with the first episode of our brand new podcast, Two Pals talking about MMA, originating from that you call me all the time, and that's pretty much all we talk about. This could have easily been a wrestling podcast a few years back. Not anymore. It's strictly been MMA for probably a good year. That's all we talk about. And I am Jamie. Across from me on the other side of the world is Creole.
Hello.
What's up, Creole?
Not much. I'm tired.
Indeed. We are in the morning of a huge fight card, and that is UFC 59. 3 title fights, huge card. It has 15 fights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 15. Yes, 15 fights. This is a gigantic card. What are your initial thoughts?
It's a huge card that I think everybody just cares about 2 fights on it. Actually just one. I was about to say nobody cares about Benavidez and Megan Anderson. And I don't know. I think Megan Anderson might have this, maybe.
I'm kind of leaning that way myself, but anyway, are you looking at the card?
Yeah. What's up?
Pull it up.
Yep.
Do you have any interest in any of the early preliminary card?
I care about the early prelims.
Of course, you're gonna watch them all, right? You watch from start to finish.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Tim Elliott, so
yes.
I
see him. I see Jake Matthews. I think I know him. Pretty much not familiar with the rest of the names on the early prelims.
Yeah. The prelim card, though, I'm really excited for.
I mean, this card has to start at regular prelims usually start at 7. So the early prelims, 6.
Like 5 or 6.
4. I mean, it looks like it's going to start at 4. This is a huge card. I can't even think of the last card with 15 fights. That's a lot.
It was probably UFC 205.
UFC 205. Well, with the magic of Wikipedia, we can see. No. I think that card lost some fights. It has 11 fights. I was going to say UFC 200, but it had a bunch of injuries and withdrawals too.
I'm more excited about the prelim card than the main card.
Phone hasn't rang all day, and as soon as we start recording, beep, 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 so I just silenced that. So
let me
actually want to do that yourself. Okay, you can't minimize Zoom while recording. That's a lesson for you. Anyway, I probably won't be checking out the early prelim card. Got stuff to do, content to record.
I'm excited to see Dominic Cruz come back.
Yes. So moving into the regular preliminary card on ESPN Plus. Dominic Cruz, Casey Kinney headlining that. You got Joseph Benavidez. Kai Kara France. Those are a few names. Song Yadong. I think I remember him fighting. Let me check his record. Yeah, he just fought Marlon Vera back in May.
I fucking love Kai.
Kai Kara?
Yeah.
I don't know. Loss.
I don't know why. I thought he went to Rising. For the longest, I thought he went to Rising.
He has one fight in Rising back in 2016.
Wow. Um, yeah, just the prelim card looks really nice.
Joseph Benavidez coming off of 2 big losses.
I
The
don't think I
current
saw
champ.
Joseph Benavidez's last fight, but I saw when he came back and got like snuffed
by Davison Figueiredo. He's had a bad time against the current champion, Davison Figueiredo. A bad time. Bad time. I mean, Davison Figueiredo is like twice his size. They're in the same division, but I don't know how this guy makes weight, but he does, and then starches Joseph Benavidez. It's not a good fight for him. He's 36, fighting Askarov. Is that the guy who was like just fired?
for the.
Back? Let me see. Maybe not. He last fought when Joseph Benavidez last fought back in July. He is 12-0. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. And he's only 28. Not looking good for old Joseph B.
Yeah.
Someone missed weight, catch weight 127.
Joseph Benavidez is like a legend, so I don't know if he would have missed weight like that. Maybe.
I can't tell who missed weight. I feel like he wouldn't miss weight. Yeah. Yeah, Askar weighed in at 127 pounds, 1 pound over the flyweight non-title fight limit. So an overweight fighter, again, fighting Joseph Benavidez and Askar. Because the first time Joseph Benavidez fought Davison Figueiredo missed weight and annihilated him.
Yeah.
And the second time he made weight and actually won the belt. That's why they had to rematch because of the weight situation.
Somebody else, all those guys like have been coming back in those smaller divisions who are like legends and been getting dominated.
Yeah.
Like who was it in Bellator that his last person to knock out he always gets claimed for knocking out Nate Diaz with a leg
Josh
kick.
Thompson.
Josh Thompson's last fight in Bellator, he got dominated.
Dominated.
And I was telling everybody that how good Josh Thompson was.
Josh Thompson, can't sleep on Josh Thompson, but he got old really fast. He's just been around, Eventually, the tank runs out, and I think that's where Joseph Benavidez is, unfortunately. But that's enough of that fight. Let's head into this is where we're going to find out if Dominic Cruz has anything left in the tank. Coming off of his loss to Henry Cejudo, where he got just outclassed. But that was the first time he had fought in 4 years.
We get to see how good he does, but also I like him because he asked for this fight. Joseph Benavidez, not Joseph Benavidez, but
Dominic.
Yeah, Dominic Cruz asked for this fight, and I'd rather him like, hey, cool, fight once a year, let his body heal. Like, I don't want to see him win a belt. Like, he held up the division way too much when he was champion because he was always injured. Like his body just can't take it anymore.
That's the question we're going to be answering tonight. Casey Kinney, 16-2. The reason he wanted to fight Casey Kinney because they're both fighting out of Arizona. So he'd rather, if he loses, he'd rather give his name to another Arizona guy. And Dominic Cruz looked phenomenal at the weigh-in. Looked, I think, way better than he did against Henry Cejudo. He looked a little old in there against Cejudo. He wasn't moving right. His body didn't look right. This time his body looks a lot better.
I feel like you beat Dominic Cruz if you just like fight starts and you just run at him.
Well, I think Dominic has to start changing his game. His knees have literally been reconstructed like 4 times. He used to be just movement, bobbing and weaving and ducking and diving. I just don't think we'll see if he tries to implement the same style. He tried it against Cejudo and just epic failed, caught a knee, which is insane to think someone could hit Dominic Cruz with a flying knee. Casey Kinney, a lot of decisions on his record. He has a guillotine choke in his last 3, and then a knee way back in, it's 19. Oh, this guy fights a lot. Wow, Casey Kinney is very active. He fought 4 times in 2020, 3 times in 2019. So this is a very active fighter versus a not very active fighter in Dominic Cruz. And the young man, 29, Casey Kinney versus 35, Dominic Cruz. Yeah, 35. And 35 in the bantamweight division is a lot different than like a heavyweight 35. Bantamweight, that's like old. Real old. You're real old at bantamweight at 35. So big fight for Dominic Cruz. I'm pulling for him.
Mm-hmm. If he gets it, probably not, but hopefully. I'm betting against him.
I'm going to say Dominic Cruz, and I'll also go with my boy Joey B, just because I like to go for the veterans. But Joey B going to have a rougher time than Dominic Cruz.
100%.
For sure. But I hope they get it done. So I guess we haven't talked about why people may want to listen to a couple of pals talking about MMA. Should we talk about a little how long we've been fans or anything like that, or you just want to skip all that?
We can do that.
All right. You can go first.
I started watching MMA in like 04, 05. The first time I saw MMA was Pride. Late at night, I had something called the Fox Sports Network, FSN.
Yeah.
And it used to play, if you remember, Fox Sports Net used to, that was the only way to watch TNA when it was an hour long. And then one of my first fights, I'm pretty sure was, I think it was Vanderlei versus Sakuraba. And I was like, what is this? And I was just blown away. And then they had literally showed the fight between, I think, after the Pride, like little show. If you remember Best Damn Sports Show, where it's just like 6 guys talking on a couch about sports. And they were talking about, I think it was Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell's like second fight. Yeah. And I was blown away. Like it just, and been watching it ever since then, since like 04, 05.
Yep, that's a name that I remember hearing. Tito Ortiz, I think, was kind of the first major name where it started circulating in the news. And then that went into Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture. And I definitely remember seeing like commercials with Tito Ortiz and Andre Arlovsky were 2 big names, 2 champions back then. And I was like, I've got to watch this. And I remember like being told, we couldn't order the pay-per-views because, it was cage fighting. So that's how, I guess that ages us a bit, that we were like still, I don't know, like preteen during, I was like 12, It was like 02, 03. So I was like 12, 13 and trying to watch some MMA. And it was difficult back then. It's difficult. Cage fighting had a bad rap. So we're trying to say we some old heads in the game. We've been around the block. We've been watching for a long time. Me and you, like self-taught jujitsu, pretty much. We used to just throw mats down and watch a fight and say, let's try that and do that. Backyard wrestling, we've done that. We're just we just used to make it happen.
Hey, we were the first people to have no, we had gloves. I was about to say we started bare knuckle boxing, but that's not true.
No.
But that's one thing I think that we both did. We went back and like saw the history.
Yeah, we've seen the game from when it was, criticized heavily, barely getting any television show. I watched the first Ultimate Fighter live all the way through. Caught every episode. I remember watching the finale with my dad, and like Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin just throwing blows, and like him like reading the newspaper and then like looking up every now and then and then putting the newspaper down, and then we're both hollering at the TV like this is the greatest thing we've ever seen.
I recently just saw that fight. Definitely doesn't stand the test of time. That was a very
I don't know about them. Technique wise, yes. But pure fight wise, that fight still holds up. That's a great fight. I remember thinking Stephen Bonner won. I was very mad with the decision. I think rewatching it or rewatched it probably 5-6 years ago. It's been a while. I rewatched the whole season, and I was like, nah, Forrest won. He was more complete fighter. Bonner was throwing fancy stuff though. Like he was the first person I ever seen throw like spinning back kicks and stuff. And I was like, whoa, he doing some stuff. He was like what was he? The American
Psycho.
Psycho. That was it. Yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy fight. Diego Sanchez just destroying Kenny Florian. That was good. And Rich Franklin fought Ken Shamrock on that card. And like main event, I think that's the main event. The main event's not Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner, I don't think. I think it's Ken Shamrock and Rich Franklin. I might be wrong. I have a Wikipedia. Why don't I use it? Anyway, keep talking.
I really don't remember that fight at all. Ken Shamrock and Frank. It's weird. It's weird because I didn't come in like.
Yep. Rich Franklin and Ken Shamrock is the main event of the Ultimate Fighter Season 1 finale. I was so hyped for Ken Shamrock. I was like, he's going to destroy him. And he attempts like the ankle lock in that fight. Like he drops down for a heel hook. And I was like freaking out because, he was in like the WWF a few years before. And I was like, I ain't gonna lie. Had no idea who Rich Franklin was. They're like, this math teacher is going to fight the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. And Rich Franklin beats the mess out of Ken Shamrock in this fight. Completely a big fight for Rich Franklin, kind of his thrust into stardom. Great placement by the UFC, putting the math teacher talking about he's going to fight the world's most dangerous man, and then having Rich Franklin just murder Ken Shamrock on national television in one of the biggest fight nights in UFC history. So that thrusted him into the title picture of him like winning the belt and stuff. So awesome memories with that fight. But anyway, we're self-taught jiu-jitsu, but then you also have gone on to to have military training, stuff like that. So I've also played around. We used to get trained by Sensei Romulus Nakadish. He'd start the class off with a little quick jab to the face, bust our lips right off the bat. Every class. Can you remember that? Every class he'd bust your lip, and then you just bleed in the whole class. It was awesome. Good time. So Kempo karate training, jiu-jitsu training.
Do you remember you did the you actually, it was like you might have been a 11th grade or a senior in high school, but you did those like tutorial videos of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I did some. That's when the Gracie Academy first launched. Or it might have not launched. It was just them uploading to YouTube or something. But yeah, we watched them. I've traveled to Tim Crater's gym. It was just for like a day, and then he had like a week free trial, so I went back later that week. Me and Jake did, and it's really eye-opening when you train with some legit jiu-jitsu players, and just the force and the crushing power that you just sandwiched on bottom. And that's real eye-opening, training with real people. I was training with like a purple belt the one time. I went through a Tim Crater jiu-jitsu class and just got absolute bones were cracking, snapping and cracking and popping. But it was a good time, like a 4-hour road trip down there to get smashed. It's eye-opening. It's awesome. And then we got to talk to Dustin Poirier after the class for just a brief second. That was right before he was going to fight Max Holloway for the first time. He would just refer to him as a Hawaiian kickboxer before the fight was announced.
Little did he know.
Little did he know he was about to fight. At the time, it was Max Little Evil Holloway. But when he came to UFC, came to UFC, Jen's Little Evil Pulver has the nickname. So I think UFC made him change it. So then he changed it to Blessed. So it's interesting history right there.
I didn't know that at all. Wow.
Yep. He was Max Little Evil Holloway when he was fighting in Hawaii, like murking people. He was a monster. And then Dustin, submits him a couple months later. But, we have not extensive experience, but we do have, we've went to gyms, we've been smashed, we're self-taught, we've been in gyms. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah. So what have you done?
I had my youth pastor beat me up for like 4 years.
Yep. You would get smashed by him and then bring home a new jiu-jitsu technique and be like, this is what he did to me.
4 years of that, which was like, and just grappling with you guys a lot, like really helped when I went to the Marine Corps. And I ran through the courses to get my green belt in Marine Corps martial arts program. And that was really fun. Also my instructor was like a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So like we grappled a lot. And he would go out to Temecula, California and go train there. It was weird because there was a Team Quest that got built like a year after I left California, like 20 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
And then after hadn't grappled in like a minute. Last time I'd legit grappled was when I was a corrections officer.
Yeah, I haven't rolled in years.
When I deployed, coming back, we wound up going to Kuwait, and I grappled with this 19-year-old kid. Like I was like 150, he had to been like 190, and he just like brute force. And, like everything I had to do to like take him down was to like be fast as possible. It was one of those things where it's like he can stiff you really good with the how you can just leverage your arm bar until he finally like taps. Like, nah, I had to almost break his arm immediately. Like
I also want to emphasize real quick just how hard it was to find like training, probably pre-2010. Like it was hard to find a gym or anybody who knew you. Like you said, your youth pastor was like one of our jiu-jitsu connections, and you would learn stuff and bring it back. And then we found the Kimbo karate class, and it just happened after the Kimbo karate class, we would roll jiu-jitsu, and he didn't know much either. He would actually learn from the gym, like he would go roll with your youth pastor, right?
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. So he was actually learning jiu-jitsu from the same guy that we were learning jiu-jitsu to begin with too. But we didn't have any like wrestling programs in our high school at all, nothing like that. And I actually tried one year. Me and Anthony actually went around to the coaches and we're like, does anybody know wrestling? Can coach wrestling? And there was one who did. I forgot who it was, but he said he did not believe in the phrase, if you build it, they will come. He was like, no one's doing this. It'd just be you two. It'd be ridiculous.
I remember.
I don't believe that at all. I think if you build it, they will come. I fully believe in that phrase. And so it was just hard to find, especially where we grew up.
I remember you had said if we had done wrestling class, you would have dropped out of ROTC so fast.
Yes. Yes. I would have probably went to college. I'm not kidding. I would have tried to pursue that to the nth degree. Because that was like my 9th grade year. I was like, where's the wrestling? And that prompted no wrestling, no amateur wrestling in high school. Well, I guess I'm starting a backyard program back at the house. So that's what happened. And then I remember rolling with the purple belt. And after we rolled and he smashed me, I don't know how he picked up on anything, but he's like, you must have some amateur wrestling background. You must have wrestled in high school. And I was like, nope, self-taught. That's it. So I did something to at least get that acknowledgement.
It's funny in the Marine Corps when we have grappling sessions and like everybody thought I'd wrestled as well. And I was like, nope, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, we are self-taught. to say the least. And it's really cool these days. It's pretty easy to find a jiu-jitsu gym these days, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely a little past that. I've had some pro wrestling training as well, hurt my knee. And I was like, well, I guess that's the end of this journey. But yeah, I would dominate everybody actually in the pro wrestling class too. Like no one knew, because around here there's just no amateur wrestling. So jiu-jitsu is the only thing. And I would use it. We couldn't do submissions in that class. They were banned. You had to like get a pin. So I didn't know how to pin people. So I was just triangling people and sweeping people constantly. And like wrestling with full heavyweights and just sweeping them with ease. And them not knowing, but I'd still lose because the size eventually does overwhelm you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So not being, we're still right under blue belt level probably. Well, you're probably a little more. You've had the military training and stuff, but I've never been in a class unless I could have potentially kept going to Tim Crater's, but the expense at that time, that was like 2011 or something. There's no way I could afford traveling to Tim Crater's gym and affording his classes to actually go through the belt system.
How much was that, by the way?
I don't remember. It was a pretty good bit though. Especially the role with Tim Crater, which is what I would want to do. But he had everybody else in that gym was really good. They were purple belts and up, brown belts. There were some serious jiu-jitsu competitors in that gym. And there's like 3 branches now of the Gladiators Academy. Bro Bridge and somewhere else. Still South Louisiana, though. I don't think there's one in North Louisiana yet.
If I remember correctly, Tim Crater had an awesome UFC fight.
Oh yeah, Tim Crater's had some wars.
Like that's like he's definitely like he's like top 10. His fight versus I can't remember right now, but yeah, it was a barn.
Tim Crater fought Nate Quarry in that fight. I was like,
that's it.
Who is this guy? Where does he train? They announced him Lafayette, Louisiana, and that's what got me interested in his gym. And then Dustin Poirier debuted, I think, a year later. I think the Tim Crater Nate Quarry fight was 09, 010. And then Dustin debuted, I think, 010, and he beat Josh Grisby, I think was his name, dominated him. And I was like, I got to find this gym. So one week, me and Jake headed down south for something. I think we were moving him out of a job site or something. He was like, didn't you say there's a gym around here? And we went to the gym and trained. It was a good time. But anyway, that's enough about us. Let's get back to the super card. But that's a little backstory on we're from Louisiana. There's not a lot that back in our day, MMA, was looked more down upon, and there's not too many gyms, nowhere to train. So Tim Crater and Dustin Poirier were really eye-opening fighters where we're like, there's people fighting out of Louisiana. And there was Melvin Gillard too. There's a couple others, but Melvin Gillard, I don't think trained in Louisiana. He went to Greg Jackson's. Most people from Louisiana left Louisiana. Daniel Cormier, went to wrestle in Oklahoma. But Tim Crater and Dustin Poirier trained out of Lafayette, Louisiana, and got to the UFC off of, the training. Tim Crater. Where did he get his belt from? You called it like Thug Jitsu.
That's
it's escaping me, but there was like a clique. Tim Crater, someone else. There was like 4 of them.
It was Thug Jitsu was Eve Edwards.
That's it.
And from Houston, Texas, I believe.
Yep. So Tim Crater at one point went to Houston and then brought back those things he learned to start the Gladiators Academy with the Thug Jitsu, old school right there. Awesome. But anyway, back to the card. So we have main event, Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adasanya. Women's featherweight, Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. Bantamweight championship, Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. Lightweight fight with Islam Makhachev versus Drew Dober. And then light heavyweight fight, Thiago Santos, Alexandra Rechik. What you think? Who are you most excited about?
The top three cards. I'm really interested in seeing Thiago Santos again.
Yeah,
Really
he
interesting.
just made his comeback, blew out both legs after fighting John Jones, and got destroyed by Glover Teixeira. I missed that fight, but didn't seem like it went very well for Thiago Santos.
Um, I don't remember that fight either. I remember when, Blehovich has been killing people, so like, yeah, just it's it's wow.
Yeah, Glover Teixeira is on a run, and he weighed in case someone drops out of the main event. He was the replacement this fight, and it's crazy. If Izzy would not have moved up, Glover could potentially be fighting Jan tonight and could potentially be the light heavyweight champion.
I think I would rather see that fight than Jan versus Izzy.
You would sell probably not many pay-per-views with it, but yeah, it's a good fight. I would have loved to seen it. I think Glover has a great shot at beating Jan. That was back in November. So Glover very active. And Thiago Santos bouncing back very fast against Alexander Reyes, who is very tall, 6'5". Holy crap. Just beat Anthony Smith in August.
That was that fight that Anthony Smith, I think's home had got invaded, and his like head,
Yeah.
you could tell his head wasn't in the game at all.
Yeah, Anthony Smith has not been quite the same. But I think he just got a big win back. So he's back on the winning side of things. But anyway, Thiago Santos, I'm hoping he has a good performance and bounces back from his multiple leg surgeries and recovery. Islam Makhachev, you know about this guy?
I don't. I know about Drew Dober though.
Drew Dober, yeah.
Yeah. Drew Dober was on a skid for like a minute, and I
think he's going to continue on that skid. I think he's probably on a winning streak now, but
yeah, he's on a winning streak now.
3 in a row, three KOs, 2 fights in 2020.
He said what he said. He said I saw an interview actually last night, and he was like, I stopped caring. And it was like, nah, just go in there, have fun. And he's been dominating, just having fun.
Yeah, his early UFC career had a bit of a rocky start. 2 losses, 1 win, no contest loss. Yeah, he was just kind of a win-lose type of fighter for a while, but then kicked it into gear a few years ago and has been a pretty good streak. Lost to Beneil Dariush in 2019, but back on a 3-fight win streak. But he's going to run into a wall with Islam Makhachev, I do believe. Dagestan wrestler, Sambo guy. Khabib fully believes this guy's going to be the champion probably by the end of the year. So does Daniel Cormier. He's been talking a lot about old Islam.
It's like all those Dagestani like fighters are super dangerous, and they're going to dominate MMA. And the next, like, now they're dominating now. Like,
yeah. But the winner of this fight is going to be propelled to fighting someone in the top 10, and then we'll see what they're really about.
What do you think of the Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling fight?
Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling, very, very good fight. Peter Yan, you know, his last 2 wins have been impressive, but he's also fought some older competition in Uriah Faber and Jose Aldo. And he has never fought a guy like Aljamain, I think. Aljamain has been in the thick of things for quite a while in the UFC. He's lost to some big names, and he's beaten some big names, and he's on a 5-fight win streak. I think he's beaten better people. I think he's had better competition. He's had the ups and downs of the UFC. I think tonight is Aljo's night to shine. What do you think?
His last fight was against Corey Sandhagen, and
Corey Sandhagen
got a beautiful flying knee to what's his name, Frankie Edgar.
Yeah. That win has aged quite well. Mm-hmm. What you're saying? Yeah. Corey Sandhagen, a monster. But I think he learned something from that start. It seemed like if you go back and watch the Sterling fight, it Sanhagen didn't seem like warmed up. There was no sweat on his body. Seemed like he just walked out there and was like, I'll warm up in the cage. And Aljamain gave him 0 time to warm up. He swarmed him. So if you're going to fight Aljamain, a grappler, as serious he is, you got to come out with a good sweat. You got to warm up in the back pretty heavily. And you got to be ready to go. So tonight is a real, I think, striker versus grappler type matchup. We'll get to see if Jan's complete MMA game is there. And, we'll see if he's the real deal or not.
I still see Aljamain Sterling winning by submission.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I think even if Peter Yan keep him off him in a couple rounds, I think 3rd, 4th round, Aljamain will get that submission.
Either Aljamain Sterling gets starched in like the first round, or I see him winning by decision for Aljamain Sterling by submission or decision.
Right. And Jan, doesn't just come out there and starch people. He really breaks them down. So a first round KO from Jan isn't really in his wheelhouse. I mean, anybody can, turn that around if he's, coming for it and this matches up with this. And, Aljamain dives on a takedown like he did Marlon right at the beginning and gets flying kneed. But that's not typically in Jan's wheelhouse to get an early KO. He really breaks down his opponents.
One of the fighters he broke down that I specifically remember was Uriah Faber.
Faber was doing pretty decent the first round, and just every minute that ticked by, Jan was just destroying, just breaking down his whole game until eventually he just KOs him with the head kick.
And also, I don't know how fast Aljamain Sterling is. Like, like what type of starter he is? Because I know Peter Yan isn't that. It's a pretty slow starter.
Like I said, based off the Sandahagen fight, Aljamain came right out, ready to go, through like some ones, some twos, got in early. Sandahagen threw a leg kick. Sterling caught the kick immediately, clinched, took the back, didn't let go of the back, triangled the body, and got the choke. So Sterling, Jan's a slower starter. Sterling's that's how he got kneed, by Marlon coming out fast. So he's a fast starter. I think Aljamain gets it done, and we're going to have a new champion. Or Peter Yan shows that he has a complete MMA game and, has a good performance. But I'm going Aljamain.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my two sides. Either Yan shows that he's a true champion with a complete game, or Aljamain shows that he's been around the block. He's ready to take this belt, and I think he gets it done. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. The co-main event, Megan Anderson versus
Amanda Nunes, the greatest female fighter of all time. They talk about the GOATs in the men's division. It's so debatable that we'll never talk about it, I don't think, because it's just ridiculous. I think the GOAT conversation is a very new MMA fan kind of conversation, because they don't even like, to talk about Anderson Silva's title reign. Yeah. Already, we're forgetting about what GSP has done. So it's a ridiculous conversation.
The slander against Fedor is insane.
Fedor isn't even thought about anymore in what is the GOAT conversation. But when it comes to the women's division, it's pretty easy. Amanda Nunes has literally beaten every other GOAT there is, except Gina Carano.
Gina Carano's a GOAT to you?
No, but like, she's beating everybody else. I mean, there's Ronda, there's a Cyborg. And why don't you go back and watch Gina fight that steroided version of Cyborg and tell me she didn't do pretty good. I mean, we were watching Cyborg literally just beat on girls for rounds. Like, it was ridiculous. All you did was survive. Gina actually mounted Cyborg at one point.
It was the very end of the first round.
Yeah.
And Cyborg was like, "Yep, nope," and got up in that second round and just guns a blazing.
Yep.
That was
Anyway, that's a conversation for a different day. Anyway, Amanda Nunes has beaten all the women, all of
them. I don't know. For me, I feel like this might be Meg Anderson's time. It's time for definitely a new champion in that division. Like Amanda Nunes has like.
Let me spell this out for you. If Megan doesn't beat her, there is no more featherweight division. It's gone. It's gone. There's no way. She would literally have cleared the division. UFC hasn't been building contenders. I think it's gone. I think if Nunes beats Megan, no more division.
Because they made it for Cyborg when she
made it for Cyborg. But then, Cyborg disagreeing with the UFC. UFC, slid some money Nunes' way and was like, "Can you take care of this problem we got?" Didn't give Cyborg a rematch. It's ridiculous because we didn't get to see, the cool, calm, collected Cyborg fight Nunes. So I think the rematch would have been more interesting.
Yeah. And it should have immediately been a rematch.
Should have immediately been a rematch. It's ridiculous. I don't care how fast she was knocked out. Cyborg, was the unbeatable force at that division. And, she thought she was ready to fight. About time that fight was escalating, they were both just ready to swing. And Cyborg kind of lost control. I think a cool, calm Cyborg is a much better fight. I still don't think she beats Nunes, but it's a much better fight.
Yeah. I want Meg Anderson to win. I don't see her winning, but I would like for her to win. But also, if she wins, she's fighting next, right? Holly Holm, and then if Holly Holm wins, and
if Megan. Oh, you talking about Nunes or Megan?
Megan.
No, if Megan wins, you don't think Nunes is going to immediately rematch? I think it's an immediate rematch.
She has another belt to defend. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but
she has another belt to defend, and then turn around and Holly Holm's like, "I'm ready." Like
always ready. Holly Holm won't go away. But I think if Megan, all right. So Megan's plan to win, what she has to do. Man, have you seen the weigh-in pictures? She's way taller.
Yeah.
She's she has the reach. She has the height. I think she's going to pressure early with the striking. She can't throw any kicks unless it's straight kicks to the body or straight kicks to the head, push kicks, teep kicks, Anderson Silva style. Because Nunes, I think, will be looking to wrestle and grapple this fight. I think we're going to see wrestler Nunes. She has a complete MMA game now. She's used it in the past. I think this is the one where she's going to show off more of her grappling, more of her wrestling or clinching. I don't think she's looking to take chances this late in her career, or not really even late. I think she's still, 32? Amanda Nunes is 32, yeah. So she's in her prime. Megan's in her prime. Megan's 31. But Megan's the real 145er. And Amanda Nunes, can jump to 135. No way Megan can make 35. There's no way. She's a big lady. So she's got to show up with that full frame. She's got to keep her off of her, use teep kicks, use her range, use her reach, and have the performance of a lifetime. There's a point in some fighters' career when they finally get the opportunity, they rise to the occasion. And that is what Megan Anderson has to do in this fight, is rise to the occasion and put it on Nunes. Unfortunately, Nunes has that complete MMA game. We'll see. I think we're going to see wrestler Nunes versus striker Megan. What you think?
I think that it's going to be a kickboxing match. It's just going to be super technical. I think it's going to be a straight up kick. I think it's going to be Jermaine Durandamy versus Nunes. I think it's going to be like that, super technical, and they're just going to if Nunes doesn't knock her out either immediately, it's probably going to be done in third or fourth round or by decision, or she wins by decision. It just matters if Megan shows up. which is
Yes.
like you just gotta, and she's so tall, like Anderson has to like utilize those leg kicks for the long decision win.
If she throws the leg, she's gonna get taken down. That's what I think. I think Nunes is coming to wrestle. I just think she's so secure with her legacy and her championship wins. She's just gonna look to, she sees the weakness. Megan has so much problems on the ground and in the clinch. Like the one girl who beat her, Felicia Spencer, who got destroyed by Nunes, just took her to the ground real quick and choked her out in the first round. And she's like 5'5". She's so short and was able to just easily take down Megan. And even Megan's last fight, the girl doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, was able to clinch Megan up against the fence. She's had a year to hold up, the boat in that department of the clinch and the grappling. So hopefully she's been training that a lot. I think Nunes is going to easily win in those areas. And I think if Nunes comes out and kickboxes with Megan, it's a mistake, but she is a world-class striker as well. Like you're saying, like she has a complete game. It's really hard to beat Nunes. Megan has to have a performance of a lifetime, and I think do it fast and early. I don't think Megan's going to win a decision.
Agreed. We both got Nunes winning. Like,
yeah, but I'm hoping Megan rises to the occasion. I would like to see Megan rise to the occasion and win.
Yeah.
I love these stories of someone finally getting an opportunity and rising to that occasion. I'd love to see that. So, yeah, that's pretty much all we can say about that fight. We're both rooting for Megan. Nunes will probably get it done, though, with her complete game. To the main event, Jan Blehovich versus Israel Adasanya, middleweight champion, coming up to fight Jan. It has never happened before in the UFC. This Israel weighed in at the lightest a contender for the championship has ever weighed in at 205 at 201. What are your initial thoughts?
Jan better learn some wrestling. Like,
he actually has said earlier this week that he was actually kind of hinting that he's probably going to be looking for takedowns and clinching.
Because he has a couple of submission victories. Like, he can choke the hell out of people. And
Jan's a guy who's been around the block in MMA. Like,
yeah,
I remember him fighting Sokoju back in 2011. He lost real quick from a leg injury and then came back in a rematch and beat him. Like Jan Blehovich is a name we've heard around for a long time. And when he finally got to the UFC, had a rough start, and you're like, oh, he's not going to work out. And then all of a sudden goes on a tear and wins the championship.
Oh,
but only because John Jones moved to heavyweight.
Yeah. That's one thing I noticed too. He's 38 years old.
He's old. He's an older guy, 38. But he's in the heavier division. So at 38, at light heavyweight is when fighters like Chuck Liddell start going downhill. But other fighters like Randy Couture, Dan Henderson are still in their prime. So you never know in these heavier divisions if 38 really matters or not. And he seems like his knockout power has come out in his age. The Polish power, as he claims, knocked out Luke Rockhold. He beat two, bloated middleweights in a row, Rockhold and Jacare. So I don't find those wins all that impressive. And it was a split decision against Jacare. I mean, going to a split decision with Jacare in 2019 is not the most impressive thing, but still, it's a name.
Yeah.
Then he beat two kind of still up-and-coming fighters, Corey Anderson and Dominic Reyes, who, are still, I don't think they're all that young, but in MMA, they just haven't been around the block like Jan has. Yeah, they're both over 30, but just haven't seen everything that Jan has seen, and that's how Jan was able to piece them up with his veteran-like tricks.
I keep thinking Izzy's I keep thinking Izzy's like 26 or 27 years old. I keep forgetting like he's like
He's already had a full career. He's 31. He's already had. But guess what, Jan? Those tricks aren't going to work against Izzy because Izzy has seen it all in the striking department. He's had a full kickboxing Muay Thai career. I mean, like 80 fights or something. Total 80. Kickboxing record 75-5. It's insane.
The key for Izzy is just speed. I think that he's gonna strike and move.
I think the key for Izzy is just standing. Period. Jan, Jan's never seen Izzy striking in a full-fledged, MMA fight.
100% Izzy's gonna win. I would like Yan to win. I'd rather not see somebody become light heavyweight champion to like go troll John Jones.
Yes, like, let's mention that too. Izzy fully has moved up because John Jones moved up and he's like, well, I'm gonna go get his belt. That's pretty much it.
And it's gonna be like a year back and forth and be like, come get your belt back.
Yeah, if John Jones was still the champion, Izzy would not be fighting for the belt right now. He would be looking to fight him probably at the end of the year, though.
He said
he wanted to fight him over the summer at first.
Yeah, I remember he had an interview. Izzy had an interview and like he was like, I'll be ready for John Jones in like 2023 or 2024.
No, I think he said 2021.
I thought he was trying to get himself like 2
I think he was looking to fight him this year over the summer. Mm-hmm. But John moves up, Jan wins the belt, and he's like, well, this is easy pickings. But that's a thing that Jan has too, people overlooking.
Yeah.
I think his last few fighters who have fought him, being Reyes and Anderson, have kind of overlooked the man. And you can't overlook Jan. I don't think Izzy's going to do that though at all. Izzy's coming in. I think we're going to see a similar performance to the Paulo Costa fight, but Jan's going to be smarter than Paulo. Let's not compare 100%. Jan to Paulo Costa because it's just not a comparison. Paulo Costa is off his rocker, apparently. I don't know what's going on with that dude. But if we'd had the podcast when they were about to fight, I would have said that would have been my pick was Izzy easily. They were hyping it up like it's the greatest middle. I did not believe any. I didn't even watch the pay-per-view because I was like, this is not even close. I mean, Paulo had like 8 fights or something. It was ridiculous to even think that he was that big of a threat, but they did it. I didn't think Paulo beat Yoel Romero.
Yoel.
I didn't think he beat Yoel. Okay, he was 13-0, so that's pretty good. That's you go 13-0, you're gonna get a title shot. But he beat Yoel, Uriah Hall, Johnny Hendricks. Like, it wasn't that great of a streak, and I didn't think he beat Yoel Romero. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. But it's just my little rant for that fight. The hype was ridiculous for that fight, I thought. And comparing Jan to Paulo is ridiculous, but at the same time, similar. It's hard to explain, but I think Jan is smarter than Paulo in the fight.
100%. World. Either Izzy knocks him out in the first round, or
I don't think it's gonna be.
I don't know why I'm like getting like Kevin Gastelum versus Izzy vibes for this fight.
I felt them too thinking about this fight. I'm like, we might see a bloody beaten Jan coming into third or fourth, and he's just headhunting Izzy. Like, we don't know how tough Jan really is. I think this fight we get to see how tough Jan is. And plus, Israel's the smaller guy. Jan's going to come in probably like 220. He doesn't come in heavy. He said he doesn't like the way his body feels when he comes in overly heavy. So he's only going to be 215, 220, which most light heavyweights come in about 225, 230. Mm-hmm. So he likes the lighter frame as well, but that's still 20 pounds over Israel. But Israel's on the level, and Jan's not that type of wrestler, where I don't think the weight plays any sort of factor, except for maybe he can take a couple more punches.
Yes, Will it probably be Friday night? I'm guessing it's gonna be Friday night.
I'm thinking so. I don't think Jan is gonna get put away that fast, but he's gonna get outclassed in the striking department, I think, for sure.
I just want it to be a good fight. Hopefully it doesn't end in like 30 seconds.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't.
Paulo made it 2 rounds. Yeah, Izzy really is really respectful, that first round. Unless you really make a blaring error against the man.
The only way Izzy slows down is if he gets hit one good time, like he did with the Romero fight. And he was like, all right, cool, not charging in again.
Romero hit him early enough where Izzy was like, okay, the dude really does have scary power. And he doesn't want to admit that after the fight, but I mean, clearly the power had to come in consideration. And Yoel made it weird. Like I say, it's not Israel's fault that fight happened the way it did. I blame Yoel. Once you make it weird, it's your fault. He made the fight weird. It's his fault.
It's weird how people go about that too, because people were mad at Izzy for that fight.
Yeah, but, that's what I'm saying. Like, why are we mad at Izzy? Yoel's the one who started dancing and putting he stopped fighting. Israel's not gonna run in. He's had 80 kickboxing fights. He's not gonna just start swinging on the guy for wanting to dance for a second or whatever he was doing.
Another good comparison is
there's a couple of them.
Yeah. The biggest one I can remember is recently was Usman and Masvidal, where everybody just like hated Masvidal. I mean Usman, my bad. Yeah, everybody hated Usman, and it was like, all right, like he implemented.
That was a good fight, though. I don't think those are comparable. That was a decent enough fight.
It was a great fight for us. Like the mass, like really hated that fight.
I don't understand it either. Jorge, week's notice. Neither of them, could put together complete game plans against each other. I think Jorge showed enough early, which kicked in Usman's wrestling, and then Usman was like, I'm not even going to risk it. Usman cannot afford to lose to a guy on a week's notice. It's just no. And the reason the Gilberts-Burns fight, they apparently sparred all the time.
Yeah.
So they knew they were just ready to fight. They don't need a feeling out process. Gilbert started attacking him immediately, and he knew he needed to, but it still didn't work out for him. But yeah, it was a different fight.
The only way I see Izzy losing if he gets caught or if he just comes in being like superly overly confident.
Yeah, if he completely disrespects Jan, it could be Polish power. Can't deny the Polish power. You walk into it, you going night. But anyway, yeah. So let's make our final picks with the 3 championship fights. We'll keep it to there. So Jan, Sterling, make a final pick. You go first, and then we'll rotate on each fight.
I got Jan and Sterling. I got Sterling by submission.
Me too. Sterling. Yeah.
In those later rounds.
Later 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I'll say the same thing. Agreed. Yeah. Nunes. Come on, computer. Nunes, Anderson. I think there's a time in a fighter's career where they rise to the occasion and they meet, that unbeatable champion. They meet him middle of the octagon and they put on a performance of their life. I'm going Megan Anderson. She has to do it pretty early, though. That's a tough, it's tough, but I just like the story. I'm going Megan. I'm going new champions all around the block tonight. What you got?
I got Nunes. Like we said, Nunes is probably gonna win. We just want Anderson to get it. Like that's pretty much all we want is Anderson to get it.
Well, final pick, Rio. You gotta make a statement.
Anderson.
Oh, okay. All right, main event. Boy, we are probably going to get roasted in the comments after tonight, or we're gonna look like true, heroes. Jan Blehovich, Israel Adasanya, middleweight versus light heavyweight champion. Who you got?
Izzy. Like, this man.
So we are picks of May. Calf Kick MMA coming out strong in the first episode. 3 new champions tonight is what we're predicting. New belts for everybody. Everybody getting a belt. Yep. So I agree. And to go right before we go off the air, UFC announced this week they have released Junior Dos Santos and Alistair Overeem. I just want to comment on that real quick. Truly the end of an era for the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Cain Jr. and Overeem are now gone. There was a point where Cain Jr., Overeem, and Lesnar were the top 4 in the division, and they're all gone now. That was some exciting fights back in the day. I think people, you stick around this game so long, people who just jumped into the game 3 or 4 years ago have no respect for probably Dos Santos and Overeem fully. They've just seen them get KO'd. Seems like they get to a big fight, get KO'd. Beat a couple people, get to a big fight, get KO'd. And, go back and watch their old fights, man. The Demolition Man, Alistair Overeem, was literally champion of the world at one point. He had a belt everywhere. Strike Force. Was it Dream? Had a belt in Dream. Like K1 is the biggest one. K1. Won the K1, what's it called? Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I mean, was KOing everybody in 2010, 2011. It was insane. And when he signed with the UFC, it was like, who's going to beat him? And of course, he popped for steroids, and then Bigfoot beat him. It's downhill from there. He never won a UFC championship. It sucks. I like end of an era. What are your thoughts?
If you weren't around for Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos, they had a trilogy fight, right?
Trilogy, yes. Santos KO'd Cain under a minute on Fox, the very first Fox card. Rematched. Cain won an epic decision, and then the third fight, he KOs him like in the 5th or something.
If everybody goes back and watch that fight, you get to see like those were grueling fights, and both of them have never been the same.
Never been this. Those fights were so brutal. The rematch and the trilogy fight were 2 of the most brutal heavyweight fights of all time. Truly took probably years off their life. Like. Insane fights.
I really don't know what Junior Dos Santos is gonna do. Alistair has tons of options. I see Alistair fighting next on the Rising card.
Yeah. I don't think either of them done. I think we'll see Dos Santos in Bellator.
Yeah.
Overeem, I think Rising.
I see Junior Dos Santos being a backup for the Bellator heavyweight tournament.
Yep. What? No, they're not doing heavyweight. It was light heavyweight, wasn't it?
Light heavyweight?
Yeah, it was light heavyweight. Bellator announced the light heavyweight match. We'll have to talk about it in the next podcast. I think we're running pretty long.
Then Alice Overeem, a lot of people have him as the GOAT. And that would have been like 100% stamped down as him probably being the greatest heavyweight of all time.
He needed to win the UFC fight,
yeah.
The UFC belt. That's all he was missing.
Yeah.
And he would have been, undeniable. Couldn't get it done. Beat Brock, lost to Bigfoot, fought his way back up, fought Stipe. Stipe beats him. Incredible careers from both individuals. Junior Santos was definitely like my favorite heavyweight at one point. Great fighter. He was a fantastic boxer. Never the same after the Cain fights.
Alistair must have had a great relationship with Dana White as well because they kept him around for a very long time.
And he was an expensive fighter.
Yeah.
So to keep him around with the price tag he had, it's pretty crazy they kept him around for so long. So yeah, he must have had a great relationship. Who did he just lose to? Russian.
Yeah, Volkanov.
Volkov.
Volkov.
Put on a crazy performance against him. Jabbed him up. 1-2, 1-2. No, really, Alistair just looked out of his league.
Junior Dos Santos always came in very Junior Dos Santos came there and knock you out. I like the way there was like 4 phases of Alistair Overeem's career though, where like he came in there just swing and try to knock you out, and then somewhere down the line he became super technical.
I mean, I think that's Alistair Overeem fight Chuck Liddell at one point in his career. At 205.
I forgot all about that. Wow.
Insane.
Wow. It just sucks to see his brother never got the recognition.
No, it's Valentine.
Yeah.
Overeem. No.
When I think of Valentine, I think of Clay Guida's big brother.
Yep. What's his name? Jason Guida?
Yeah, Jason Guida.
Boy, yeah. Speaking of Clay Guida, man, Clay Guida came back, put it on whoever his last fight was. Big shout out to Clay Guida, man. That was awesome.
That was against
once again, I love some old fighters still putting it on them these days.
Was that not against Diego Sanchez?
No. Diego Sanchez? No. He fought some up-and-comer a card or two ago.
No, Clay Guida?
Clay Guida just won a fight in the UFC like a month ago.
Against Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson, yep.
Where'd up-and-coming come from?
Yeah. I was wrong. Definitely wrong. Look, there's a bunch of fights these days. It's hard to keep up with. So we're back in the day, it was like a fight card once a month, and at one point it was like once 3 or 4 months. We were really watched it, back in the day where you were like mouth watering, ready to watch a fight, and now it's every week. It's hard to keep. Yeah, he beat Michael Johnson back in the beginning of February. Decision. It was a really good performance.
Yeah,
definitely. Really he definitely didn't beat an uppercomer. That's my bad. Great performance though. I think we've talked for too long at this point. Now we're just rambling. But yeah. So tonight, UFC 259. I'm excited. It's gonna be awesome. 3 new champions. You've heard it here first. Calf Kick MMA Pod. We're gonna try and do this. We'll try weekly. Can't promise that. Probably bi-weekly is more gonna be like it. Definitely before a big fight card, I'm gonna be zooming you up.
All right. Yeah, that'll work.
All righty. I like how we went through a whole podcast not mentioning McGregor. Good deal. You can tell a couple of old heads talking when McGregor is not mentioned once, but had to bring him up now. All right. That's all I got, Creole. You got anything to plug? People follow somewhere?
No, that's hopefully we can keep doing this.
All right. Yeah. Like, subscribe, comment below what you thought. You can email us at calfkickmmapod@gmail.com for any whatever you want to email us. And right now we're on YouTube. I'll maybe work on getting us to a listening platform, iTunes or whatever. I don't know. I have to look into it. Right now, YouTube, until, we don't have microphones or nothing. We're just talking into the universe on Zoom. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see what this becomes. I finally got, Creole's been wanting a podcast for a while. You got your podcast. All right. Yeah. All right, awesome. Creole.
Yeah. I've been wanting to do this forever. So.
Yeah. So there you go. Happy birthday. Earliest birthday for you.
Sweet.
All right. We're out.
All right. Later.